Who's that? Commander Claw. Who's bad? Commander Claw.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Breaking Brews. I am your host, Commander Claw, and I'm here to bring you 5 EDH cards that work well with the Commander. And the Commander we have today is the Speed Demon. And I believe the reason why you have found this video is because the Speed Demon most likely works well in the 99 of another Commander. Yes. Now, I will be sharing a card that, it works well as a mono black commander, but the demon creature type is a very popular creature type amongst the MTG fandom. So do not underestimate that. So overall, I am kind of underwhelmed by this commander, but in the 99 of another type of deck, I believe he actually shines. But first, without further ado, let's talk about the Speed Demon. For 3 and 2 black 5/5 demon creature type, that's pretty big. That's pretty big. Don't underestimate that. It has flying trample. Generally, if you don't know from the whole entire universe of MTG, the 4 CMC demons usually have flying trample and they're like 6/6 power and toughness. So this was a little less, but it has the start your engine mechanic. Start your engine says if you have no speed, it starts at 1. It increases once on each of your turns when an opponent loses life. Max speed is 4. So if you don't know the mechanic by now, you need to do damage on your turn to at least one of your opponents, either through combat damage or non-combat damage, to increase the speed. So next, at the beginning of your end step, you draw X cards and lose X life, where X is your speed. So when you cast this, your engine is at 1 speed. So at your end step of that turn, if you did not increase your speed, you will draw 1 card and lose 1 life. So forth on the following turns. 2 cards, 2 life. 3 cards, 3 life. 4 cards, 4 life. And we will be playing to those quote unquote downfalls as strengths. Without further ado, let's introduce the first card, which is one way you can win your game if you are using this as a mono black commander. What do you expect? Psychosis Crawler goes in a lot of decks that want to draw cards, mainly in blue and black. Mainly blue because blue doesn't really take out your opponents through damage. So this is an answer. But this card works very well with the Speed Demon because you'll be drawing a lot of cards and you need to do damage to your opponents. So Psychosis Crawler for 5 mana, it is Phyrexian Horror. Psychosis Crawler's power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in your hand. Whenever you draw a card, each opponent loses 1 life. So it's literally draining life as you draw cards. Yes, the reason why this card is very good because there's a way to have explosive card draws. And you can draw a bunch of cards on 1 turn. So the card that I will have here is Peer into the Abyss. And this is a very stable card where you can draw half the cards in your deck, you lose so much so forth life. But if you have this on the battlefield with Psychosis Crawler, your opponents will be losing that much life. Yes. So with that being said, you might want to gain life in mono black, which is possible. You may think it's not, but let me introduce the next card. What are we talking about here? Sheoldred the Apocalypse for 2 and 2 black 4/5. Phyrexian Praetor. Death Touch. Whenever you draw a card, you gain 2 life. Whenever you draw a card, you gain 2 life. So if you have this on the battlefield at the beginning of your turn, that free card draw at the beginning of your turn, you gain 2 life. She also says whenever an opponent draws a card, they lose 2 life. Yes, this is kind of one of those like pain in the side mechanics for your opponents. But anybody who is new to Magic knows that this is very powerful because I just mentioned Peer into the Abyss or end the match. It will end the match. So Sheoldred Apocalypse works very well with the Speed Demon because whatever your speed is, you're drawing that many cards and you're gaining that much life times 2, and you're losing life equal to 1 card of each. Anyways, you're on the +1 side of that interaction, so no need to worry. Anyway, moving on to the next card that is better in the speed demon is better in the 99. Is a very popular commander. If you don't know her by now, I will introduce you to Kaalia of the Vast. One, red, white, black. Red, white, black is called Mardu. One of my favorite colors because it's all about getting on the battlefield, doing damage with either big creatures or great synergy within artifacts and death and attack triggers. Oh my god, it's so fun to play with. And this commander is nothing short of it. If you never played it, you will be surprised how fast it is. And it is an on site kill commander. Kind of very easy to target and remove. But once it gets going, it's pretty much game over because the creature types are very powerful. Let me explain. Kaalia the Vast, 2/2 body, human cleric, flying. She says whenever Kaalia the Vast attacks an opponent, you may put an angel, demon, or dragon creature card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped and attacking that opponent. Why this is powerful? Because let's start off with dragons. All your dragons are most favorite. One of the most. She plays with the most favorite creature types in the Magic game. Dragons come on the battlefield. They're 6/6. They got the fire breathing mechanic. They got haste. They got flying, and they usually cost like 6+ mana. So if you can put them in for free, you're winning. Angels, same thing, except for they got more keywords and they gain life. So double strike, first strike, life link, uh, like the list goes on, and they fly. Like it gets bonkers. Demons, on the other hand, they usually fly. They can have trample, but they got some other kind of crazy ability that goes with them. You could just type in the demon creature type, and they're doing wicked things like pay 2 life and search your library for a card, put into your hand, or pay 1 life and do this, or your opponent's got to do this. The speed demon is nothing short of that, except you will be drawing cards for the amount of speed you have. So, great way to cheat the speed demon in. Kaalia the Vast is a great commander. I feel like her only weakness is board wipes. And what weakness isn't board wipes, right? Moving on to another commander that is another fan favorite. Let's get started. Be'lakor, the Dark Master from the Warhammer set. I don't know why I said it like that. Anyway, for 3, Grixis colors, blue, black, and red there. 6/5 body. What I tell you about those demons? They're big bodies, and they usually have flying and some crazy ability. Nothing short of this. Anyway, he's a demon noble. He has flying. He has the Prince of Chaos ability. When Be'lakor, the Dark Masters, enters the battlefield, you draw cards and you lose X life, where X is the number of demons you control. Okay. Then it has Lord of Torment. Whenever another demon enters the battlefield under your control, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. Wow. Yes, the speed demon is a 5/5 power and toughness creature. It comes on the battlefield, is going to deal 5 damage. That's a lot. The reason why Be'lakor is really one of the most popular demon commanders, because there's ways to do infinite damage putting demons on the battlefield. I'm not going to put that in this video. You can Google it yourself or find somebody else's video. Actually, I should link that video somewhere. I should actually do that. Think about it. But yeah, that's one way Be'lakor is just a pain in the butt to deal with. Thank God it is in Grixis colors and is high CMC, because if it's anything less than that, it would be a very broken commander, in my opinion. Not even broken, just on the higher end of power creep. Anyway, moving on to my favorite card next. Let's talk about it. Whip of Erebos for 2 and 2 black is a legendary enchantment artifact. Creatures you control have life link. That is not common for the black color pip. It's not. Life link is not. It's not. For it to be on an artifact on a, that can work for all your creatures, that's what makes it powerful. And it's only 4 CMC. So it can just sit on the battlefield, and if your opponents do not answer it, you are gaining life, and you want to do that with the speed demon as you lose life for the amount of speed you have. So if you have 4 speed and speed demon is already a 5/5, you can be on the +1 side of things on that end trigger. Anyways, back to Whip of Erebos for 2 and 2 black. Tap it. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste. Exile it at the beginning of the next end step. If it will leave the battlefield, exile it instead of putting it anywhere else. Activate only as a sorcery. Cool. This is an artifact with a reanimation ability. Actually, a enchantment artifact that has a reanimation ability that doesn't go away. This card is crazy powerful for 4 mana to do all those things. I would say the only downfall for this card, it is both an enchantment artifact. So that means if your opponents want to get rid of an enchantment with their green spell, probably they can get rid of it. Or a player plays a spell that says sacrifice all artifacts, it's got to go. Moving on to cards you may have missed if you're playing mono black. So I feel like this is an auto-clued if you're playing mono black. Nyx Lotus for 4 mana, legendary artifact. It enters the battlefield tapped, but when you tap it, choose a color. We're going to choose black most likely. Add an amount of mana of that color equal to your devotion to that color. Your devotion to that color is the number of mana symbols of that color and the mana cost of permanents you control. So for all those black color pips on enchantments, planeswalkers, creatures, you get 1 mana of that sort. So do not underestimate having lots of 1 solid color pip to cast a spell as a permanent and put on the battlefield and get that devotion count extremely high. And this is just one way to actually mana. It's a very strong mana rock. Like it scales as more permanents are going to be able to be on the battlefield. So take advantage of it. All right. Moving on to another powerful mono black card. I love this card. I love this card. I have this in my Erebos Deathwell deck, and it does work. The reason why I'm telling you to add this card for your mono black commander, because when you don't have answers for planeswalkers or enchantments, you will be doomed. And this card does it. Invoke Despair for 5 mana, 4 black and a colorless. It's a sorcery. Target opponent sacrifices a creature. If they can't, they lose 2 life and you draw a card. Then repeat this process for an enchantment and a planeswalker. At worst, an opponent loses 6 life for 5 mana. Okay. Otherwise, they're sacrificing a combination of either an enchantment, planeswalker, or creature. Okay. Let me put this in perspective for you. How many times have you played an opponent that has protected their planeswalker with a bunch of creatures in the way and you can't get through? This is your answer. They have to sacrifice a planeswalker. Teferi comes to mind. Teferi, with all his phase out, play loyalty counters on other players' turns, yada yada yada. This gets rid of it. Gets rid of it. And those pesky enchantments. Black doesn't do a good job of removing enchantments. This is one way. And you got to also think, this is a nice mid-range tempo card. So you can gain control, because there's going to be an opponent that has that one enchantment that just does work. The enchantments are just the most powerful, like permanent on the battlefield. You got to get rid of those things in order to win. And think how many Commander games you've won because you had enchantments on the battlefield and they weren't answered. Exactly. Moving on to the summary and why you should play with the Speed Demon, whether as a mono black commander or in the 99. Yes, the Speed Demon is a super cool creature. It's a demon creature type. I think it's kind of underwhelming, but it could be interesting as a mono black commander. I haven't really thought about it too deeply as a mono black commander without adding Sheoldred. I don't know what other cards I would work with it. Let me know in the comments below what other cards you think work well with the Speed Demon. Otherwise, I think it's a great auto include for Kaalia the Vast or Be'lakor the Dark Depths, right? Because it's a demon creature type and they're just powerful creature types that just do work. Thank you for watching the video. Go ahead and hit the like button if you think this content was relevant to you, what you were looking for. Anyways, I'm just babbling. Thank you for visiting. I'm out. Commander.